Have you ever wondered how humanity came to measure time in the precise way we do now? The genesis of timekeeping is as ancient as civilization itself, rooted in humankind's observations of natural phenomena. The earliest humans would have marked time by the rising and setting of the sun and the waxing and waning of the moon. They based their activities on these cyclical patterns, forming the first rudimentary calendars. But as societies grew more complex, so did their need for more refined timekeeping methods. Enter the Sumerians and Egyptians, early civilizations known for their ingenuity and advancements. These societies began to develop more sophisticated calendars, their observations of celestial bodies informing the passage of days, months, and years. They meticulously tracked the movements of the sun, moon, and stars, translating them into a system that laid the groundwork for how we understand and organize time today. Those early calendars, as crude as they might seem to us now, were the first steps towards our modern understanding of time. Fast forward a few centuries, and we arrive at the time of the Romans. Rome, a beacon of civilization, was not to be left behind in the evolution of timekeeping. Enter Julius Caesar, a name synonymous with power and change. Under his rule, the Roman calendar underwent a transformation that would make it more precise and aligned with the solar year. This was the birth of the Julian calendar. The Romans, with their knack for organization and precision, introduced the concept of the leap year. Every fourth year, an extra day was added to the calendar to account for the roughly 6 hours the Earth takes more than 365 days to orbit the Sun. This ingenious adjustment brought the calendar year closer to the solar year. But the Romans didn't stop there. Augustus, Caesar's successor, carried on the legacy, making further refinements to the calendar. The Julian calendar, with its introduction of the leap year, brought us one step closer to the calendars we use today. But even the Julian calendar was not perfect. As ingenious as it was, it still had a minor flaw, a tiny discrepancy in the length of the year. You see, the Julian calendar overestimated the solar year by about 11.5 minutes. While this may not seem like much, over centuries, these minutes added up, causing the dates of equinoxes to slowly drift. This drift was more than a mere annoyance. It disrupted the timing of Easter, a cornerstone of the Christian calendar. And so, in the 16th century, a solution was sought, leading us to the next chapter in our calendar saga, the Gregorian adjustment. Enter Pope Gregory XIII. In 1582, he introduced a new calendar to correct the drift. The Gregorian calendar, as it came to be known, was only slightly different from its Julian predecessor. It reduced the number of leap years by omitting 3 leap years every 400 years, thereby bringing the calendar year more in line with the solar year. The transition wasn't smooth, though. Many people were confused, and some even thought they were being robbed of 10 days of their lives. But over time, the world adapted. Today, the Gregorian calendar is the most widely used civil calendar across the globe. The Gregorian calendar may not be perfect, but it is the most accurate calendar humanity has developed so far. So, what have we learned about the history of calendars? In our journey through time, we've seen how early civilizations developed methods to keep track of time. They observed the sun, moon, and stars, and created lunar or lunisolar calendars. These early calendars, though rudimentary, were pivotal in shaping communities, their activities, and their understanding of the world. Then came the Romans, who with their ingenuity transformed the calendar system. They introduced the Julian calendar, a solar-based system with a year consisting of 365.25 days. This was a significant improvement, bringing the calendar year more in line with the solar year. The Romans' contribution to timekeeping is still evident today, with many months bearing names of Roman emperors or gods. Lastly, we delved into the introduction of the Gregorian calendar, the calendar system we use today. This was a refinement of the Julian calendar, introduced by Pope Gregory XIII in the 16th century. It corrected the slight discrepancy in the Julian calendar by omitting 3 leap years every 400 years, providing us with a more accurate measure of the solar year. While our methods of keeping time have evolved over the centuries, the fundamental need to measure and understand time remains a constant throughout human history. Thank you for joining us on this journey through the history of calendars. Remember to like, share, and subscribe for more fascinating videos.